Hawk, you can get started. We can't hear you yet.
Okay, sorry, I just mute myself, forgot to turn on my microphone. Thanks for everyone to join this presentation. Today I will give you an overview of Keikai, and I will introduce you with two examples of application. One is the tailored report generator, and the second one is a web-based application. It's a simple application that demonstrate with currency exchange. And last, we will have some question session. Okay. First, I'll give you some overview of Keikai. Keikai is a web component. It's based on ZK framework, but it's a web spreadsheet. So this web spreadsheet is common usage to embed into your just like this. Maybe part of your page is you embed with Keikai, and other parts maybe you implement with other things like menus, sidebars, or other components. So we can quickly to introduce, bring your web spreadsheet functionalities into your web application. So it has a familiar Excel user interface, and you implement the most commonly used Excel features, and you can import your Excel file in OpenXML format, and you can also export it with Excel, OpenXML format, and PDF. And you also support more than 200 Excel functions, including math or logical function. Okay, and there are some key features because it has some Excel-like grid interface. So it has almost, for end users, it can reduce the learning costs. And it also has some Excel-like function. So for example, like edit, can merge cells, and you can insert, delete, or freeze column and rows, or enable sheet protection. And it has the Excel-like toolbar and functions, lots of functions. And you can even implement your custom formula functions with Java. So it's a web component. You just need to download some Java file so you can host into in your application. And you can integrate with its basic usage is to use with ZK framework, but you still can use with JSF and JSP. So it's easy to integrate with any backend because you just need to write Java controller classes to control the Keikai. So it's very easy to invoke or integrate with your backend service, also implement by Java. So you can also reference to a Spring Bean or a normal Java Bean, and you can implement your authentication service because the Keikai itself doesn't have a built-in authentication or authorization mechanism, but we provide some API to let you implement your own. So it's also customizable because we implemented its appearance by CSS. You can customize it by CSS, by overriding the CSS. And it also provide lots of public APIs to let you manipulate cells, rows, column, sheet, style, any user action you can imagine that you can implement, you can invoke with Java API. So if you're using ZK, it also can easily interact with all the ZK components. And it also support collaboration edit mode. So you can just write a little bit setup code so you can, multiple person can see each other on the same sheet, and they can edit in the same sheet, and everyone can see the current change. So that's what we call collaboration edit. Okay. So you can check our features more in detail in this official website. Okay. Then let's go go back to my slides. That's we complete our my overview. And next we will introduce you the example application. Okay. The example application, the first example application is a web-based Excel report generator. Just like I demonstrate you how to use it. The use case is just like this. For example, sometimes we have a system. The system, some end user, an end user might need to create his own report, but his report is composed by some report template. For example, we in this company in this process, there are some travel related forms, and I need to fill my report, but maybe this time, every time I need different report. Okay. So there are 4 template I can choose. So maybe in this side, I need to choose 1 and 3. So I click the build, and so it will clone the sheet from template and into my current view. And so there you can see there are 2 sheets from the template. One is reservation, one is healthy management. Okay. For next time, maybe I log into the system, and next time I also need to create a different report. Maybe this time I need to 1, 2, and 4. So I need to create, but still comes from the same template files. So every time I can choose, when I click build, it also give me clone those 3 sheets from the template file. So then I can fill these forms and submit my my custom report. So this is the report generated. It's just a demo application. Surely you can extend it to be more complicated use case or complicated workflow, but just demonstrate a use case. So that means in these scenarios, there are 4 different templates files, and we can clone and reuse it by user selection. Okay, so let me check. So the idea is like this. Okay, you have some report template. Everything is pre-designed in different files. Maybe one file can have multiple sheets. It depends on your case. So they are maybe sheet A, B, C. They are just template. So they are pre-designed Excel file, and all fields are blank. So you can after user select, maybe he select A and B, and our Keikai will clone this A and B sheet into a new file. So this new file will contain 2 sheets by user selection. So yeah, and then the user will start to fill his forms and send this custom report to his supervisor. This is the basic the use case. So later, let me introduce you how to implement such a system with Keikai. First, we need to import the template files. So the Keikai support to import OpenXML format Excel file, and it will convert it into a book object. That's the inside data models of Keikai spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet is designed as a MVC patterns. So Keikai itself like a controller, and book itself serves like plays like a model. It's a data model. It converts from your Excel file and become a book object. So this book object is a data model. You can even manipulate this book model without spreadsheet, without assigning to a spreadsheet. You can use API to change it, to access the cells, to change the cell value, and export it back into a Excel file. So it's just like a data processing use case. But if you assign it to a spreadsheet will render it to your browser so it becomes there's a view in your browser, and there's a JavaScript spreadsheet widget running in your browser. So it supports MVC. Actually, it's designed in a MVC pattern. So you can even, after you import, you can store those templates for future use. So you can save the heavy cost to import file, because importing a file is a heavy cost operation, because we need to parse the file content and we need to create, convert the file content into a book objects. But if after I import this book object, I can store it and for future use, so I don't need to re-import every time when a user select. So let's show you the code. This is the code when I build this report generator. So you can see this is the ZUL page. This ZUL page just is an XML format page. If you use ZK, you will know. And because it's just us, we just need a spreadsheet. So we just put a spreadsheet here, and we set up to hide column head and hide row head. So you can see in the browser here, there's no header like A, B, C, D, E, and there's no row number 1, 2, 3, 4 here to make it more like a web page. This is the application. According to our use case, we can do this. Okay, so we make it consume the full screen to make it like a normal systems, and then we apply a controller. And this controller, first we need to do is this controller need to extend the selector composer or any ZK building composer class. This is, but selector compose is recommended. And inside this after compose means every component is composed, is created. We need to import the template. Okay, so we can import the template here, and you can see here this is we support a range API, so we can after okay, sorry, I forgot the detail. Here we already import a travel management Excel. This is our main user interface. This is what you see in here. This is main. It's also an Excel file. Okay, please mute, or you might produce noises. Okay, so this user interface is also composed by Excel. Let me show you here. Actually, this file is called travel management. So we open the travel management here with Excel. So you can see here, it just look like it's just an Excel file. So to build a user interface with your application, it's very simple. Just if you know how to use Excel, that usually it's no problem. You can design user interface, and you can even let some persons with domain knowledge to design. For example, if this is a user interface, a UI for financial system, that you can let financial personnel, some financial employee to do this job, and because they know their terms, they know what they want. So you can what they want to design their UI, and if they know how to use the Excel, they can design the user interface by Excel. And the engineer don't need to they don't need to rely on engineer to create a user interface for them, and don't need a communication between engineer and the financial person. So there's no communication lost or misunderstanding. They can create this user interface by a financial person, and the engineer just need to import without knowing anything. Okay, so after I design this user interface, I just import, and you can see the result is just like this. And so this is the user interface. Surely I need to add some event listener to interact with user action like click, like this. But first, after I import this user interface, I also need to import those 4 templates, these 4 templates. So let me show the code. The 4 template I need to, in this case, I assume that this name equals to the file name of Excel file. So there's a travel reservation form. I put it under this report. So you can see there are travel reservation form.xml. So uh, this will save some efforts. I don't need to remember the file name. I just need to read these 4 cells from this Excel file, and I can import these 4 files. But I assume there's a default repository. So I just read, you can see there's a range API. The range represent it could represent one cell, one multiple cell, or one column, or one rows. So here, you need to pass the sheet, current select sheet, and the row index and column index to create a range object. So this is a factory method to create a range object that will represent the one cell. And I get its cell value, and I make 2 string. So in this line, I get a file name here. So I use the importer method to import from the default folder, and I import this file and convert. So this importer will convert it as a book object for me. And I will store this book into a map for the future use. So this is how we import template. Then, so these template will contain 4 book objects. So every time I need a template, I can just clone a sheet from them. I don't need to re-import again. So this will save lots of import cost. Okay, so next step, I will need to select to uh, select, and okay, always, I think we already list here. So there's a four template we need to select. So next one, I need to display the check mark. You can display any kind of button-like UI, like check mark on sale by some special symbol. So in our code here, we prepare 2 symbols. One is checked, one is a box, empty box, and not checked. So you can use any kind of Unicode to display. Maybe you want a start symbol, or you want some a circle symbol. So you can just get Unicode to display in a cell. So in my case, I need non-check Unicode and checked. So when user click the cell, I need to switch between the checked and unchecked status. So we need to listen to the cell click event. So the Keikai supports lots of events, like on cell select or on sheet select, or most of the action like editing. You can check a list in our document. So here we just listen on cell click, and if the click methods when it click the click position is in, I will check it by checking its row and column index. So there's a check mark position I already remember here, C6, C9. So check if it's inside the check mark, and I will toggle the check mark status. Okay, so here we'll set the cell value. This is also a range API. I can set the cell value. I will switch them between the checked symbol or non-checked symbol. This is how we implement the check mark. So this runs perfect. And okay, the next step, we will build the Taylor report, because every time after a user select these template, when I click the build button, then it will build for me. And its build actually it clones the selected sheets from the template sheet, and it create a new book and clone the sheet. So let's see. Okay, from click event listener, there's a book build. For example, I will check it's in, do you click a build button? Yes, if you click a build button, then I just run a build. And this build, I will create empty new book. This is the API to create a new book. Okay, and this new book, first I will need to check if uh, these four check marks, which one is check? If it's check, I will get its file name in a table, and then I will get the book object. Then I will use the range API to clone sheet from the source template to the destination template. Okay. So I can clone sheet here into the book. Okay. So this is a new report. The new report is the new book. So I create a range object that represent the new book, and I call clone sheet from this sheet, from new sheet, from the template, the name and the sheet. Then it will copy into the new book. So I will set the book. Because the current Keikai, it shows the book with the main UI, which is the travel management. But later, when user click build, I need to load the new custom book. So it's very easy. Just set the book object with the new report. Then the browser will load the new book object. So it will show this custom object to you. Okay, so there are new 3 sheets here. Okay, so this is the first example we demonstrate you. And the next example here, let me show. Okay, here. The next example is we will develop a web vacation, but it also based on an Excel file. Sometimes we show you that it's very easy if you have already some existing overflow workflow that work by Excel, then you can just turn it into a web vacation. Here we show you a currency exchange application. So here is also a currency exchange. We assume that someone that want to buy their external foreign currency with Europe. So there's a list of a currency exchange rate we fetch from external source. This is today's rate. So maybe I choose one currency and I type maybe $100 and it will calculate for me. So 100 euros equal to 87. Okay, do you want to buy? Yes, and click and it will produce a record here in the table. And maybe I want to buy second, so Switzerland and I 200 and buy and you will produce a second record. And I choose the third Japan 300, maybe like this, and buy. So this is just a simple workflow. Yeah. Then you can buy it, a vacation, buy currencies. So this also can be implemented by several Excel file. The first file you can see here is this one is the currency list. So let me check. Let me show you. The user interface is the same still. It's just a spreadsheet, and we hide our column header, row header, and we just limit our maximum column and rows to avoid produce the scroll bar. So you can see there's no scroll bar, just like a web page, because there's actually there's a boundary, but you cannot see. And so first we load our main UI as a currency exchange. So currency exchange actually is also an Excel file. So it will look like this. Okay, there are actually 3 sheets. So this is the first sheet, the main sheet here. and yeah, actually it's just a blank template. It doesn't contain any real data because the data I fetched from the external website. So I just pre-design this layout with color background, with format, and we can reuse it. So this data is not fixed. You don't need to. We need to write program to fetch data and fill in. And you can see this is the second page to let user input his euros, and the third one is the list. So you can see we have the three. Actually, it look like there are 3 pages, but actually there are just 3 sheets in one file. So the page navigation will be simple. You just switch between these sheets. So that's why we disable the sheet bar. You can see you cannot see any sheet tab here. That's because we want our system to control the sheet navigation. We don't want user to switch sheets by their own. So we hide the sheet bar so that we can control and make it more like a web page. Okay. So then after I import the main page, then we need to first we need to we applied a controller here. It's called Exchange Composer. And in here, we need to display the exchange rate so we can easily to integrate with your, for example, there's a exchange rate features. Actually, it fetch the exchange rate to from this site, API exchange rate. So it's external site. So it can represent your any backend systems implemented by Java. So it could be anything in your case. So this could be a backend system you need to call. So that's why we say it's easy to integrate by any Java systems. So I just call fetch to get me a rate. This is just a map of rate. So it contains the exchange rate here. So I use the range API I got interest currency list, and I get my interest currency from this rate, and I set, first I need to create a range object, just like before. I create with sheet and row index and column index, and I set value with the currency name and the rate. So because there are 2 columns in this, one is currency, one is rate. So I need to fill this from my backend data. Okay, so I fill data according to the rates I fetch from the external site. So it's a for loop to do it. Okay, and here I use a fixed row, then you can use another rows. So this is the first, I need to display the exchange rate. And because I don't want user to arbitrarily change my exchange rate, because yeah, the sheet by default is editable. So this should not be changed. So first, I also make my sheet read only. So you can see here, I protect all sheets because I don't want user to change change my cells, change the rates. It's so here we have a builder-like patterns. You can build a sheet protection. It's just a data object that contains how permission is. So you can see a sheet protection build. I can specify with selected lock cell allowed. It's true. So I can allow user to lock cells. I can allow user to select unlock cells, and I can allow user to use filter. So everything else is disallowed. So I built a sheet, I built this sheet protection object. And how do I enable? I just use the range object to get sheet. That means these range represent 1 sheet. And I call its protect sheet with my permission setting. Then I just protect it. And there, how many permission you can set, you can see here in Excel, there are permissions almost 14. So you can see we support this. So you can see you select lock cell and select unlock cell. So our API simulate these options. You can just create a sheet protection object to contain which option you check. Okay, so this is the second things we need to do. We need to protect all sheets. Okay, and then we need to read user input, because in the next, when we click, when I select one row, one currency, and I need to switch to another sheet here, and I need to read user input here. Okay, because when I click buy, I need to read these values and store into the next table. Okay, so let's see, we need to, here you can see there's an on sale click. We also need to listen on sale click event, and I will check which sheet you click. And there are actually 3 sheets. One is select currency sheet, one is exchange sheet, and list sheet. So every sheet, when he click, I will check. In the first sheet, I will check if we select a currency. Yeah, if we select a currency, and we support a name range. So you can see here, name range is a range that you can create a name for a specific range. So there are currency table. So you don't need to remember the actual sale address. This is also benefits that you can resist layout change. For example, if you insert a row, the sale address will change, but the name doesn't change. So in here, you can see in Excel, if you go into the name range here, you can see there are several name range. One is currency table. Currency table is in here. It's F9 to H15. Actually, it's this range, F9 to H15. So I can use this name to get this range. So I don't need to remember the absolute cell address. So it can resist some row or column change. So how to get this such table range? I use range by name. Give the sheet and then give names currency table. And I got a range that represent F9 to H15. So I will check, is user click in this table? Yes, if we click in this table, I will get what is currency select. And then I switch to the next sheet, and it's very simple. Just set selected sheet to the next sheet, which is exchange sheet. And then I will fill the destination currency. That means the selected currency. Okay. So I also use the range by name because I don't want to remember an absolute sale address. So I remember, I just use name range, currency rate. So you can see here, there's a currency name range which is at exchange H9, and rate is exchange G9. So you can see here, is these two G9. Okay, here. Okay, so I use the name range. I give some interest cell with some name range, so I can easily to get it to reference it inside my code. So first I get this range and set its value to fill what user select into the next sheet. So I change the sheet and fill the data. Okay, so then I when user click the buy, so let me check. When user click the buy, so I also get buy button. So if he really click on buy button, yes, he click on buy button. So I read what user cost and what is amount, get its double value, and I switch to the next sheet and I place an order. That means I will fill what user want to spend in the next table. So in the table, I will insert new row, and I fill what user, what those costs, like the date and the cost and destination and the rate and amount in one row. I will fill in one row. So, and there is a features here. Sorry, need to check in the browser. Okay. And this is also the Keikai support a table with auto filter. So you just need to enable in the spreadsheet for here. For example, I just enable in the spreadsheet. This is the table. It's a feature in Excel called table. So it will maintain the same layout, the same form for you. And this is the filter. You just need to enable, and Keikai will implement, will enable for you in your browser. So here you don't need to write any code for this filter. You just need to enable it, and Keikai will support it. So you can quickly have some feature, have this filter feature without programming by yourself. So it's very easy, and the data style you can also configure in Excel. Then when you insert, you can see it will, the Keikai will keep the style for you because there's an underline. You don't need to care about this underline. You just insert rows, and Keikai will keep this table style for you. So this is two out-of-box features, the table and auto filter. So you don't need to implement by yourself. It's automatically supported by the Keikai. Okay. So this is the last part. So this is how we implement the currency exchange application. And today's all the source code, you can check it here. This is our developer reference project. It contains many examples that let you know how to use a range API. Lots of Keikai API you can use, and it's easy to run. Just download, and if you install Maven, just run the command to run the whole project with JD, and you can start to try. And if you don't have Maven, you can use this Maven wrapper to run. It's also it will download required jar for you, so you don't need to install anything. Okay, so this is basically my today's presentation. So if you we are very welcome to if you can share your use case related to Excel or Keikai's web spreadsheet, then we can demonstrate you how you can implement Keikai in your use case. Okay, so is there any questions?
I have a question, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, but
Oh,
a little
good.
bit lower. Let's speak louder.
Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Yes.
Now it's better.
Okay. Thank you for a very nice presentation. It was very rewarding. I just have one question.
Yes.
If we want to use Keikai for pre-developed Excel models.
Yes.
I mean, all the functionality will already be implemented in the model. So basically, what we would need is just to kind of present the right parts of the model, which are for the user. And is that a correct understanding of how to use it? So you can just kind of render it in the browser for the user, and there will be, let's say, almost minimal backend if everything is already implemented in the Excel model. So you basically just have to define what the user puts in and then rendering it.
Yeah. Yes. What I understand is, yeah, if you import if you already have Excel files and you already put every data or some format inside its Excel, and you can import it, then basically you will just render what we support into your browser. But if you want some user interaction. For example, if we want user click some cells and the Keikai will do some processing or respond to user, then you need to create a controller to implement some business logic or application logic for you. But if just load and it will render, that's all. And that's what minimal. You don't need to implement anything. That's just like if you just write a Zool file like this, you just specify your file here, and when user visit this page, and you will see this file just import and render in his browser, and that's all. And user can start to do some editing. But if you want to store what user added, you need to implement some code to store it into XML, Excel file. So basically, if you just write a rule that it can show the file, that's the basic. But if you want to do something more, some read user input, that you need to implement a Java controller. Is that
okay?
Thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense. Seems very useful. Just one follow-up question. There is no problem with, like, if you have VBA in your Excel model, that will also just work.
Oh no, sorry, the VBA doesn't support, because even the so the VBA, because the VBA doesn't run in a web environment, and even Office 365, I think they also don't support VBA. So if your Excel file contains some VBA code that we don't support, so you cannot, it doesn't run actually.
Okay, and is there any way around this?
The current way is you need to, because usually you write VBA to perform some bench processing or some application logic. So you have to implement it in Java, so porting into Java. So like you need to write a controller and convert your VBA code into Java code.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, you're welcome. And is there any question? You guys can also check our Keikai blog here, Keikai.io blog. So you can see there are several use cases, including today's use case like this one. We also have other use case. This is the currency one. This is the report generator, but there are others. Maybe we'll talk about in the future, but these articles will give you more details. And also there's a manual workflow, like you will turn this table into some different format according to its template. This is a table, and you will turn one record into a form-like layout like this. This is one use case. Another use case could be other things you can see, like some processing data. You can input some data and processing and do some outputs with Keikai. This is also another use case. Or this is another case. You will use to type something and you will convert back into a table. So this is we extract from some use case and simplified it. So you can check these articles to maybe you will fit some of your use case in your company. Okay, so is there any questions? Okay. In this developer reference project, if you run it, you will see you can visit the DEV, this URL, and this is the main index. You will show every rule in this project, so you can check. If you want to see today's use case, you can check this report generator in the exchange.rule, and there are lots of example all are just simple one. Maybe show how to export to implement export Excel, or how to implement to export to PDF. Everyone just a tiny simple example for one API or one case to let you easily understand. Okay, so if you just specify a file into with the src attribute that you can see here, just like this, then if you enable toolbar, the sheet bar, then user can just start to write something here. 1, 2, 3, or use formula here. So it's just ready to use without programming. But if you want to store something or do some processing, then you need to write the controller. Okay, is anyone has any question? Or does anyone want to share their share your use case?
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay, so from my understanding itself, that this application would need to run on the web, right?
Yes.
What would be the possibility for us to embed this to be used offline?
Offline. In the only possible way to use it offline is just like a data processing case. For example, you import with our import API, import a file, and you use our range API to manipulate cells. For example, you import a file and you fill some data according to, maybe you query data from your database and you fill data into these files, and then you export it into Excel. And so through this process, you just manipulate Excel file, and you don't need to render into a web browser. And this is one kind of offline access, offline use case. So it's just more like a processing, just processing data. You don't need to render in a browser. Is that your requirement, or?
More, it's more towards a requirement where we would be able, if we are online, we will be able to actually use this. Subsequently, assuming that if we are to go to a very remote area, we have a thought of it's possible for us to actually download it into an Excel and work on it, and subsequently just upload it back once we have the internet connection.
Oh, you mean when, for example, I'm editing this, I open open this page, but there's no network connection, so I still can edit these cells, and after the network's back, and we can upload it. Currently, there's no such feature support. So if you want to edit with your browser, then you must have network connection, and there's no offline features for now.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And or is there anyone want to share his use case or anything, or is any question?
I have a question. Do you recommend a special browser, any special browser, or anything?
What kind of browser?
Explorer or Mozilla or Chrome?
Sure. Yes. You can check our document, but I think we support most browser, but there's a version that you can see the introduction here. Supported browser here. Chrome 5 H, but if I Explorer, it must be 11 or higher. So could be just IE and Edge. Safari, Firefox, Chrome. And the mobile browser here, just iOS, Chrome, Safari. Yes. So, do you see my browser? Do I answer your question?
In Windows, it's possible to execute Keikai?
Windows?
Okay. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, we don't depends on operating system. If you have this browser, you can use. You don't. It doesn't. The operating system is irrelevant. Yeah, you can use Chrome in Windows or use Chrome in Mac. That's okay. We just need Chrome. Yeah, or Firefox. Firefox in Windows, Firefox in Mac. It's okay.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So is there any other question? Welcome. Okay. So if no one has question, then let's end this presentation today. So thank you for joining. If you still have some question, you can mail to us. Okay. Thank you for joining. So bye bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you very
bye.
much. Bye bye.
Thank you. See you
Bye
soon.
bye. Bye bye.